So, good afternoons to all of you once again. So, last time we have gone through the second section, first chapter, that is work measurement. Just we'll go for revision of the same, and then we'll go to the new points. So, work measurements, this is very important parts from the industrial point of view. Work measurement is nothing but to establish the one of the techniques to decide the standard times to complete that work. So once this time we get, then on basis of this, we will decide the salary of the workers, the cost estimation, ultimately selling price of the job. So this is very important from the industrial point of view. So once again, I will go for revision of this. So definition of the work measurement, it is the one of the techniques to establish the standard that times actually decided on the basis of the work done by the qualified workers having good performance and establish the standard time. So every workers will not do that work at the same time or the same level of the performance. Maybe variation. So basis standard times, we can decide the how much actually amounts need to pay to manufacture that job. Whatever job manufacturing is there, on basis of that, the man salary, materials, the amounts, then profit to that industry, it is totally based upon this. So standard times it is necessary. So it can be defined as the time taken by average experienced workers. Means you have to give one jobs to the workers. That worker must be qualified, experienced worker, and his level of working is 100%. Uh, while doing this particular work, you have to measure the times or calculate this time. Main objective of the work study to reveal the existence of ineffective times, if any. So downtimes we have to compensate. The waste time, downtimes or waste times we have to compensate. Set the standard times for carry out the specific jobs and standard output level. Means, if you set the standard time for these jobs 1 hour, these jobs 2 hours, this is standard times, calculated time. Accordingly, you can give work to the workers to complete the job as per the standard time. So applications we can use for estimating the cost, salary, machinery, equipment, whenever we required the cost related problems, we can make use of the standard time. And here's applications, financial part, we can decide on the basis of this, incentive bonus systems, then production planning and control purpose also we can make use of this. Then where we can apply the work measurement, it is widely used in work or part work is repetitive. If mass production is there, we can make use of this. Next, the three general criteria for measurable jobs. So here's the number of components produced by the workers. A worker should be performed reasonably consistency manners, then volumes and keeping the record of the same. After this basic procedure, you can select the jobs to be studied as usual in method study, record the existing methods, critical examinations, measure this with qualified workers, then compares with the basic. After that, install that, and after installing you have to record this. So after that we came to the next part, the technique of the work measurement. But before that, once again I will repeat. So what actually we have studied in work measurement? What is the definition of the work measurement? Then what is the objective of the work measurement, and what is the actually basic procedure for work study? And after this next part, that is the technique, time study technique, work sampling technique is there, standard data technique is there, then predetermined motion time systems are there. So here's time study. Here we can use the watch system, stopwatch system. Work sampling, we can use the mass production. Standard time method is there. Analytical methods might be there. Then predetermined motion time systems. Already each motion time it has been decided, and that we can use for this. So here time study, two types of watches are there. With help of this we can measure the observed time. So here the selection of jobs to be studied, where we can select the jobs for work measurement. New activities there, mass production is there, some problem in productions are there, need to decide the salary of the workers, changing the materials, complaint from the workers. Whenever it's a critical part is there, we can make use of this time study. Normally this time study we can use for new jobs or new activity, or in production there is a problem. Whenever problem is there we can use the time study. Then if you want to introduce the incentive system, bonus system, need of standard times, sometimes material and methods, if you want to change, then work, this time study is required. Complaint from the workers about set time standard for an operation of an operation. Suppose knurling operation is there, slow time is there. Then taper turning time is slow time is there. But as per standard time, the given or calculated time is less, then there may be complaint from the worker. And under this situation, we can make use of the time study. So once again, the cost related uh, job is there. Many times it has been observed that we are doing a job, but the cost is more. Under these conditions, we can use preliminary investigations to carry out the method, existing method, compare the efficiency of two methods, excel idle times of machines or extremely low output of the machines. For this purpose also we can use the time study. Selection of the worker for time study. Selection of worker for time study is very important factor in the time study. He should be skilled, experienced, like this type of high level of performance should be there. Quality of worker, skill should be there, sufficient experience should be there, temporarily suited to the job, knowledge about the purpose of study. So means skill person should be there, experience person will be there, and in knowledge about the time study, such persons be required in the time study. Time study equipment. So time study devices. So that is our stopwatch is there, observation sheet is there, time study observation board is there, equipment like pencil, eraser, devices like technometer is there. So here we will see that uh, this type of stopwatch, so normally used in work study. So here is one a big dial is there, a small dial is there. Small dials, half minutes will get measured by one revolution, and by bigger dials, the pointer once he will move the complete one revolution, 1 minute will be there. This is the stopwatch. Two types of stopwatch will be there. So this is the digital type. This is the timing for predetermined motion study. This is also digital timing devices. Sometimes this is the time study sheet. Already we have recorded, we have gone through this cumulative timing. And sometimes while taking the reading, the pointer will move. Once it will move, that activity will get worse, then it will come to zero. Sometimes from that point, cumulative readings will get measured. Flyback. In this method, hands of watch returns to zero at the end of each element. Once it is worse, then it will return to zero. So like this three observation sheet, drawing, etc. we required in time study. Observation sheet is there already. I have shown this procedures already. We have shown this related job. Okay. So now we came to the performance rating. So in short, what we have studied in last lectures, definition of work measurements, then next where we can do these work measurements, what is the procedure of work measurements, what is the basic techniques of work measurements. So this part already we have covered in the last lecture. The definition, it is the one of the techniques for measurement of standard times by qualified worker, experienced person, high level of performance. Main objective for cost estimation, incentive, production planning and controls to avoid the bottlenecks, then to remove the downtimes in industry, bonus system is there. Uh, for this purpose, we require the work measurement. And the procedures, first you have to select the jobs. Okay. After that, you can go for the uh, questionnaire or the measurements related to these jobs. And once it will get compared with original and new methods, we can install and record that what is the output. This is the procedures. After that, we can came to the time study. Time study is one of the techniques for sampling, standards, measurements is there, and last one is predetermined motion study. We have studied in the last lecture. Now, performance rating. Performance rating is the process of adjusting the actual phase of working of an operator by comparing it with the mental picture of phase of an operator working under normal speed. Suppose one experienced person is there, skilled person is there, uh, that person uh, actually the work in the given particular time, that is called the normal speed of the working. Normally such persons performs rating supposed to be 100%. Means that person having good experience, then good the working skill is there, and we can allow him to work at a normal speed. The performance rating normally based upon speed rating, Westinghouse method of rating, synthetic rating, and objective rating. So sometimes depends upon objective, depends upon analytical methods, depend upon speed of working, we can decide the performance. But ideal man, we have to suppose, and his performance is 100%. So this is the performance rating. Now here's the skill and effort on this basis. we can measure the methods of rating for particular motion. So here's one example is given A, A1, A2. A1's that means super skill is there. A2 in between this is there. B1 excellent. B2 in between this and C1 good. So here related to our syllabus, need not to remember this. Only we required the performance rating for particular worker. Means ideal conditions that persons will use maximum time to complete a job, and that is called observed times, or that is called 100% performance. For example, if man is doing a job on a lathe machine for 1 hours, one skilled, experienced person working at normal speed, he will going to complete a job of 10. If nobody will make the jobs more than 10 within the 1 hour, then we have to suppose that person's having 100% performance. Once again, I will repeat. Suppose one man is doing a job on lathe machine for 1 hour, he's making a 10 job under normal speed, and that man is highly skilled, experienced. Then we have to suppose 100 job, 10 job, 1 hour. This is the 100% performance. And below that, we can give the performance 80%, 90% like this way. So we have to compare with the standard performance. This sheet, what actually seen in your screen, it is not that much important, but industry they will make the seats while calculating performance. Poor, pairs, average, good, excellent, super skill like this. Some the point actually required in industry. This is also not that personal and fatigue allowance. So many allowances it is given. It is not actually visible. After this, so same page, whatever written here, with the small handwritings or printed copies there. So below this, same thing is there, allowances. So first things we have seen the performance rating. Performance rating depend upon skill of the workers experience. We can decide the performance rating. The ideal person having good performance, we have to suppose 100% performance rating. Now, in order to calculate the standard times, the last lecture we have seen, we can use the stopwatch methods for mass production level whenever problem is there. Then whatever the time measured by stopwatch, this is the observed time. This is observed time. And if you go for multiplication of the performance rating always be in the percentage. So observed times into the performance rating in the percentage, you will get the basic times or normal time. You will get basic times or normal time. And in this, if we add the allowances, so what is the allowance? Means the extra time is given to the worker to fulfill their personal needs. Sometimes powers in the industry will get off. That time will get waste. To compensate this time, we'll also consider while calculating standard time. Some management groups having meeting, etc. Some policy allowance is also required. So allowance means the extra times allowed to that worker while calculating the standard time. So many allowances are there. So here normal times does not contain any allowance for the worker. Normal time, while calculating normal, what actually we are doing? Normal times or basic time. This is equal to observed times into performance rating in percentage. Observe times, how to observe? By using stopwatch. Okay. So from this we will get the normal times or basic time. Even under the best working method situation, the jobs will still demanded expenditure of human efforts and some allowance must be therefore made for recovering fatigue or relaxation. In that normal time, sometimes we have to get it add and it will become standard time. Allowance must also made to enable the workers to attain his personal needs. Where actually we require the allowance to fulfill the personal need, maybe lunch, maybe go to toilet. Here we require the personal allowance. So under this, four allowances are there. Relaxation allowance after lunch we required at least 5-10 minutes relaxation allowance. Interface allowance means certain help we required from supervisors or other persons in the working condition we require certain allowance. Contingency allowance means unpredictable times will get just like powers will get off in industry, so we cannot know where the powers will get off. Policy allowance, that is the management allowance. So this policy allowance will not going to consider while calculating the standard time. So these are the allowances actually used in the calculation of the standard time. Okay. So what is the meaning of each allowance? First is the relaxation allowance. Allow the worker to recover from fatigue. While doing any work, operators sometimes will feel fatigue. In order to compensate this, we required relaxation allowance. To recover from the psychological, physiologically effect of carry out pressure work under pressurized conditions and to allow the attention to the personal needs, the amount of allowance will be depend upon nature of the job. So in heat treatment jobs, sometimes the workers will require more times to go to outside the shop because hot condition is there. So depend upon situation, this allowance may get varied. Fixed allowance, personal need allowance, 5% for man and 7% for women. Fixed allowance is that. So this is to fulfill the personal needs. While doing any work, there should be some personal needs are there. Go to toilet, lunch, or any other part. So here personal need for this person, we required allowance that is for six. This allowance that is 5% for men, 7% for women. Multiple choice question will be there. So how much the personal need allowance for the person those are working in industry. If man is there, 5% of your normal basic time and 7% for woman. That percentage, it is actually in the percentage of basic or normal time. Allowance for basic fatigue to compensate for energy expenditure in the working, common figure considered as allowance as 4% of basic time. So fatigue allowance, how much actually we require, that is 4% of basic times or normal time. And how to calculate basic times or normal time? Observed times into the performance rating. So basic, once again I will repeat, basic times or normal time, basic times or normal time, that is equal to observed times into the performance rating. Okay. So once we calculate, it will become normal or basic time. In percentage of this, we can add the allowance. Maybe personal allowance, fatigue allowance. Fatigue allowance is normally 4% of basic. Variable allowance is allowed to operator who is working under poor environmental conditions. Those workers are working in the poor environmental conditions, means heat treatment is there, foundation is there that cannot be improved, added stresses strain in performing the job. Heavy lifting is there, forging is there, casting is there, heavy machine jobs are there. So here's variable conditions are there. Here we requires the certain variable allowance. Then variables fatigue allowance is added to fix the allowance to appear the operator who is engaged on medium and heavy job working under upgrade. The amount of variable fatigue allowance varies from organization to organization. So how much this variable allowance, that is 2 to 3% of basic time. Okay, when we can get this, sometimes the environmental conditions will get changed in the organization. Under this depends upon the opinions of the top management, we can allow this allowance. Interference allowance. Work contain of job to compensate operator for unavoidable losses of product due to simultaneous stoppage of two or more machines being operated by him. Suppose 4 5 machines are there and one man is working on that 4 5 machines. So third machine will get stopped. Fourth and fifth will not get work unless and until the maintenance will get work. So under such situation, we can add here interference allowance. Interference means there is a problem. Suppose one worker is operating 2 3 machines and one machine will get work, will not work. It is not fault of the operator. It is the fault of the machine. So here operator we cannot do anything. So this time actually it comes under the interference allowance. Applicable for machine and process control jobs. Interference allowance is varies in proportions to the number of machine assigned to the operator. This is also depends upon the management. Maybe 2 to 3% interference allowance. Then contingency allowance. Contingency allowance, that means unpredictable, immediately, without any intimations, the work will get stopped. So this is called contingency allowance. Power get off. This is the contingency allowance. Then sometimes there is a force from the top management to stop and come for the meeting. So here's unpredictable things will happen. Then it is called contingency allowance. Small allowance of times to meet legitimate and expected items of the works or delay, precise measurement of which is uneconomical because there is a frequent irregular occurrence. This is an irregular occurrence. Small unavoidable delay as well as occasionally minor extra work. Unexpected times, the thing will happen. This is the contingency allowance. Should not exceed the 5%. So contingency allowance 5%. So if you are deciding the standard times for a job, then powers may get off or not, even though we can consider the 5% as unexpected things will happen. Unexpected times will get happens, which is not in worker's hand. Examples already I have given. Powers may get off. How the worker will work. So this comes under the contingency allowance. So it is 5% of normal time. Policy allowance. Now this policy allowance, this is actually management allowance, not the genuine part of the time study. It is not actually genuine part of the time study. This is not added in the standard time. Sometimes the questions will be there, which allowance is not added in the standard time. So this is how actually policy allowance is not added in the calculation of standard time. To line up the standard times with the requirement of wage agreement between the employers and trade unions. So here actually we required while deciding the salary or wages system, and there is a need of discussion between the employees and top managements or trade unions, we required this policy. A policy allowance is an increment other than bonus increment applied to standard times uh, to provide satisfactory level of earnings for specified the level of performance under exceptional circumstances. Here's the policy allowance normally we can use for the incremental purpose, bonus systems, or the in additional the things the workers you will get in financial part of you. Then we can say there is a policy. It is actually depends upon the management. It is not related to standard time. So here's various allowance to be built in standard times. So here personal allowance, fatigue allowance, it comes constant fatigue allowance, variable fatigue allowance. It will go to the relaxation allowance, then contingency allowance and policy allowance if applicable. But normally we cannot add policy allowance in the standard time. So here's two allowances always be there while calculating standard time. One is the relaxations or personal allowance. Second is contingency allowance. So these two allowance actually we required in the calculation of the standard time. Okay. So you have to remember only two allowance, relaxation allowance and contingency allowance. These two allowance actually we required in the calculation of standard time. Next allowance is there, policy allowance is there, but this is depends upon the management. Under relaxation allowance, personal allowance is there, fatigue allowance is there. Under fatigue allowance, constant fatigue is there, variable fatigue. So here's relaxation allowance. It contains two types of allowance, that is fatigue allowance and relaxation allowance. So here's normally we can give 5% to man and 7% to woman. Okay. And contingency allowance 5% of normal times you will get the standard time. Policy allowance will not be considered in calculation of standard time. Okay. So you have to remember sometime questions will be there which allowance is not added in the calculation of standard time. So policy allowance, it is allowance decided by the organizers, management. It will not get added in the calculation of standard time. So this policy allowance normally helpful for incremental two types of bonus system. Okay. So for this purpose, we required this policy allowance. So here is the diagram. Standard time is time allowed to operators to carry out the specified task. Specified task means you have to complete these jobs within the 2 hours. Under specified conditions, under hot condition, this machine is there, this much cutting tool is there. So specific conditions and specific tasks and specific level of performance, this is actually called standard time. So in this chart, you can see that observe time. How we can take the observe time by stopwatch. So here you can add the rating factor. Means yeah, instead of adding, you can go for multiplication. Then it will become basic times or working time. Okay. And in that, if you add relaxation allowance, contingency allowance, then it will become a standard time. This thing you have to remember. How to calculate the standard time. So standard times How to calculate? First of all, you have to calculate normal or basic time. How to calculate this? Observe times we have to measure with stopwatch into rating. In that you can add the your personal allowance or the what we say that is the relaxation allowance, and in that you can add the contingency allowance. You will get the standard time. So this is the chart for calculation of the standard time. Here it's observe times and rating, it is given, and after this the problems. But before going to the problems, once again we go to the back and we'll see definition of work measurement, then standard times, objective, very simple objective, cost estimation purpose we required, to decide the salary of workers we required, to avoid the bottlenecks we required, to establish the new methods we required. Okay, so these are the objectives. Uh, the economic comparisons purpose, break-even analysis purpose also we require this. Where we can apply the work measurement whenever repetitive mass production work is there, new work is there, volume of the work is more adjustable for this. Basic procedure same as the method study. Select record, select the job, record the existing method, examinations with critical questions, measure this, then compares with other methods, define and install this, and evaluate. Techniques, time study, work sampling, standard data, predetermined methods. So this is the techniques, time study, two types of watches we can use, and whenever repetitive job is there, we can make use of this. Stopwatch, we have seen different types of charts, we have seen. So this total sheet, this is the example, need not remember this, that's why I am going very fast. Uh, Two types of cumulative timings and a fixed timing is there. Observation sheet, study board is required for this. Procedure repetitive parts, performs rating, and here is the allowance. So allowance means extra timing while calculating the standard time. Relaxation allowance means his fatigue, personal lead, it comes under the relaxation allowance. Variable allowance, working condition is not good. Morning, the condition is different. Evening condition different. Afternoon condition is this allowance may get changed. Interference, when the worker is operating more than 2-3 machines, second machine or third machine will get break. Automatically, the fifth machines will not work. Interference, contingency, power of examples you have to remember. Police allowance, it is actually in hands of the organizer or the management to decide the increment purpose. It is not part of our standard time. This is the actually the allowances chart is there. Relaxation allowance and contingency allowance. This is very important while calculating standard time. Policy allowance will not consider in the calculation of standard time. And here the chart is given how to calculate the standard time. Then procedures. Here's the observed times and performance rating for five elements are given. Here, one activity is going on. For example, machining a job on the lathe machine. So, what operation is there? Facing is there, then turning is there, drilling is there, knurling is there, parting is there. Suppose these five operations are there. For first facing operation, 2 minutes are required. The next turning operation, 08 minutes is required. The knurling we required 0.50. Others drilling we required like this way. So like this five operation and performance rating. So here performance rating means uh, already we have seen those are working at highest efficiency level, means skill and experienced person what actually he is doing, his work is supposed to be 100%, and below that all workers will be there. So first performance rating for first element is 85, then for next that is 85. Means performance level may be hundreds or more than 100 or less than 100. Sometimes some persons will work more than ideal condition. Okay. Then problems number one, element times for four cycle of operation using stopwatch are presented below. Calculate the standard time for operation of element of 2 and 4 are the machine element. For other element, operator is rated at 110. Total allowance is 50% of the normal time. Now we have to calculate the answer. So here, how to calculate standard times through these problems we will come to know that. So five elements are there, and the cycle times in minutes for that element. So first element cycle times in minutes for four operation 1.5, 1.5, 1.3, and 1. The average cycle time is 1.4 to 5. Similarly for 2, 2.6, 2.7, 2. So whatever 2.6, 1.4, this actually value from where we will get by stopwatch while doing the work. So here average cycle times for each element as calculated 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. After that we can make the total of this average cycle time. So that total is 0.505. After that rating is 110 percentage. So each element you can calculate the normal time. How to calculate normal time? Average cycle time into 110 divided by 100. You will get the normal times 1.568. Okay. So all these element you can calculate this. Okay. So normal times for each cycle you can calculate like this. Normal time for the cycle 1.568, 2.5, 3.6, 1.1, 0.5. Okay. So total times it will become 9.5. Now standard times how much allowance we have taken here? 15%. 15% of normal time. So here you can see here So 15% of normal time, 6.3, and you can add into this normal times, you will get standard time 10.484. Okay, so see that you can just check how this problem has solved. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll solve on the blackboard. Try to understand in what way we have solved the problem. If it is not able to understand, tomorrow we'll solve this on blackboard. Here it is very simple. Each element, four activities are there. Each activity time is given. We can calculate the average time. Average time means observed time into performance rating 110 divided by 100. You will get the normal time. So all elements normal times you can get. Make the addition of this normal times of this five elements. So normal times that is 9.5 plus 50% of 9.5. This is your allowance because here in the top it is given 50% of normal. So whatever answer you will get, that is your standard times required to complete this five activity with the four operations for the job. Okay. So up to here it is clear. Anybody having any doubt, you can ask. Anybody having any problems? So today, what actually now here it is 8 minutes are left. Just we'll go to the revision. What actually we have studied in this lecture. First, we calculate the standard time. How we will calculate the standard time? Very simple formula is there. Observed time sent to the rating plus allowances. Standard times that is equal to observed time sent to the rating plus allowance. So you can make use of this formula here. Here elements are five and four activity. Each activity time is given. Average cycle times you have to calculate. So this is average cycle time. It is nothing but observed time. How we can observe by stopwatch into rating in the percentage, you will get the normal time. So five normal times you will get. You can add this five normal times, and in percentage of this, 50% of this is the allowance. So this allowance you can once again you have to add in the normal times, you will get the standard. So this is the problem. So here's problem number one we have solved, and here's problem two is there. Observe times and perform. So here's we can calculate the normal time. How to calculate the normal times here? 0.2 into 85 divided by 100. This you will get normal time. Then 0.08 into 80 divided by 100. You will get the normal time. So in 50% of the normal time, so here personal allowance is 15, contingency allowance is 2, means 15 plus 2, 17. So let us consider first example. Observed time is 0.2 into 85 divided by 100. What you will get? Normal time. Okay. Now how much allowance is here given? 15 plus 2. So 17. So whatever normal times you have calculated into 17.100, 17 divided by 100. So whatever value you will get, this you have to add in the normal time. You will get the normal time. This you will get the normal as well as standard time for each element. So only one formula you have to remember. Once again, I will repeat. Uh, Standard times that is equal to standard times that is equal to observed times into the performance rating. Observed time into the performance rating. You will get basic time or normal time. correct? In this, you can add the allowances, maybe your personal allowance, contingency allowance. But how much we can add? So in this example, 15 plus 2, 70. 70% of which one? 70% of basic time or normal time. Suppose 10 minutes basic or normal time is there, then 10 into 17 divided by 100, whatever value you will get, this value you have to add in a 10, you will get the standard time. So these are the two examples related to standard times calculations. Tomorrow we'll go on the blackboards. We'll solve certain problems how to calculate the standard time. Okay. Today, if it is not possible to understand, tomorrow we'll go on the blackboard because here's we cannot calculate and make the addition difference in the PPT. So tomorrow we'll go for actual calculation of the backbone. Same problem we'll solve it. Okay. So any still date, anybody having any problems, you can ask to me. Today we have discussed about the various types of allowances. So first allowance, personal allowance, interference allowance, okay, contingency allowance, policy allowance. So this allowance we have studied, and this allowance always be in percentage of basic or normal time. And basic or normal times depends upon observed times into the rating. So like this way we can calculate the standard time with the help of these allowances. Any problems to anybody? No problem. Okay. So once again recover this point and then we stop. So this is very important. Two allowance you have to consider constituency and contingency allowance and relaxation allowance. Interference allowance, variable allowance, relaxation allowance. Okay. Allowance means extra time that will be added in the calculation of standard time. Interference allowance when if any worker is working more than two, three machines, third or fourth machine will get breakdown maintenance there. We cannot calculate the standard time. Contingency means unpredictable time. Policy allowance depends upon the management. Okay. So this is the very important chart. You can make the screenshot of this and you can remember the standard time chart. Okay. So with this, our time is over. Uh, Tomorrow we will going to solve some numerical problem based upon standard time calculations on blackboards. Okay. So thank you once again to all of you. Tomorrow we'll solve the certain problems related to standard times calculations. Okay. Thank you.